Today we are going to discuss uh, Lord Alfred Tennyson as a nature poet. Okay, and how much different he had been from William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth, he is known only for his composition related to nature, and he has been called as a priest of nature, as a lover of nature. But Tennyson had been very different. He was a Victorian poet, not a romantic poet. But and this age, Victorian age, was the age of science, was the age of doubt. And now the impact of science is also very obvious in the poetry of Lord Alfred Tennyson. His attitude to nature is different. Okay, the attitude of Tennyson is very different from that of William Wordsworth. Why? Because William Wordsworth appreciated nature. He always presented nature as a teacher, as a mother. Means William Wordsworth, we can say in brief, that looked at the bright side, at the beauty, at the kind heartedness of nature. But Tennyson always found nature with red in teeth and claw. Means nature was or nature had never been very merciful, very kind hearted or beautiful for Tennyson as it had been for William Wordsworth. So this is why that Lord Alfred Tennyson, he found nature red in teeth and claw. So we find here that nature had been very violent, very cruel or callous or completely merciless. And Tennyson doesn't paint her as a kindly mother that had been described by William Wordsworth as a teacher, as a friend, as a mother, okay, full of passion, full of emotion, very merciful. But that was not so with Lord Alfred Tennyson, maybe because of the impact of science, maybe because of the Victorian era, that Lord Alfred Tennyson couldn't find nature a kind mother. And as an artist, Tennyson uses nature as a background only to human action and human emotion. So we find that Tennyson was, no doubt, he was a nature poet. In most of his poem we always find the phenomena of nature, but his attitude, okay, his prospectus was very different from that of William Wordsworth. Tennyson sees the both side, not only the beauty, not only the brightness of nature, not only the bright side of nature, but also dark side of nature, and that he always preferred to depict. He finds a brutal, okay, as we have been known with this phrase red in teeth and claw, that is red in tooth and claw. So he finds nature just like a violent mother, a brutal struggle for existence going on everywhere in nature. For Tennyson, there is no evidence of God in the objects of nature. Now, if we make a comparison as a nature poet between William Wordsworth and Tennyson, we can find here very well that for Tennyson, nature was red in tooth and claw, and Tennyson could never find the existence of God, the existence of that oneness in all, in the phenomena, in the objects of nature. And William Wordsworth, he connected himself, he always found spiritualism, he always saw God or that supreme power in nature, and he regarded that if you want to meet God, if you want to meet yourself, if you want to meet your inner self, for that you must go to nature. But that was not so with Tennyson. So for Tennyson, there is no evidence of God in the objects of nature. So here we can also find the pessimism, the gloominess of Tennyson, and never forget it was different age, okay, it was the different age from that of William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth age was romantic age. On the contrary, Tennyson belonged to the Victorian era, and Victorian period, that was the age of science, that was the age of doubt. So there is no evidence of God in the object of nature according to Tennyson, but he hears a voice, and that voice was also heard, don't forget that voice was also heard by Matthew Arnold. Matthew Arnold, he was also a Victorian poet, and the same voice of nature he also heard, that was very different also from Tennyson. So Tennyson, what kind of voice he always hears in nature? The voice that was shouting, okay, it was not a soft or tender voice, but it was a very violent voice, that kind of voice that was shouting that don't believe in me. And what it was shouting, believe no more. So never forget these two phrases, red in tooth and claw and believe no more. So here we find, in brief I have told you what kind of belief Tennyson had in nature, and how you can write in detail that Tennyson was a nature poet. So this is the basic, okay, this is the basic. If you are aware of this concept, of this idea, of this philosophy of Lord Alfred Tennyson, what he thought of nature and how much different he had been from William Wordsworth, then you will be able completely to write in detail. You can be able to answer in detail if this kind of question is asked in the exams, that Lord Alfred Tennyson as a nature poet, okay.